Hey guys, welcome back to the WODDoc Project 365, episode 666. Today what we're doing is taking a look at how we can increase or mobilize into flexion with our low back. Now, we generally don't mobilize into flexion too often because when we think of flexion, we think of that's the position that we fall into all the time because of posture. However, that thought process comes because we think of the back as an entirety, right? And when we do that, we typically think of this fallen forward position where our back is always stuck into flexion. And that's true, but that's true for the upper half of the back. The lower half of the back tends to fall into this anterior pelvic tilt, right? So I kind of fall into this position, and then I fall into that position in the upper back. So this anterior pelvic tilt position is a position that actually puts my back into extension. So it can be beneficial to mobilize our lower back into flexion. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to lay on our back and we're going to use our legs to lift up against the wall so that way we can stabilize the upper portion of our back, and then at the same time only flex and drive flexion through our lower back. And you'll see what I mean. So if we get into a position that looks like this, where we have our feet up against the wall, okay, you can either support up here if you needed to, or as long as you were on a carpet, your back wouldn't slide. But all I want to do from right here is I'm just going to use my legs to lift my lower back. And I don't have to lift very high, but you can start to see how there's, there's space there in between. And now the weight of my body is driving in this direction, which is kind of acting as a pinch, right? So as I drive downwards, I get more flexion driven into my lower back. I can raise up just a little bit if I want to create a fulcrum at a higher spot in the low back. If I want the fulcrum to be lower, then I just don't raise my butt as much, because the apex of where that flexion stretch is where the point at which the back is supported on the ground and where it's lifted up off the ground, okay? So right here is where that point is right now. If I lower my butt a little bit, that point drops down. If I raise my butt up a little bit, that point gets all the way up to here, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to spend some time mobilizing the low back in this nice rhythmic fashion. If there's a spot that you find that's more tender than others or tighter than others, you can just hang out in that spot, count to 10 or 15, and then go ahead and go back to that rhythmic motion. Spend about 2 to 4 minutes doing this. Get back up and see how you feel and how that low back feels for you. Guys, I really hope this helps you out. And until tomorrow, we're optimizing function to optimize performance.